Helpful illustration here, right here locally. And I'll give you an example. I was talking to Terry's mother the other night, and she said, okay, I want to start doing what you're saying. I want to start working with some folks and maybe try to turn them. And she said, now I'm talking to my one friend, so what I'm going to say to her is, are you really voting for Obama? And I said, well, Donna, I might rephrase that just a little bit. Instead of saying, are you really voting for Obama, what I would say is, can you tell me why? I just really want to understand why you're voting for President Obama. Really to understand what their logic flow is. Understand what their logic flow is. And I use, for me personally, it's important to use the President's title. Because this puts a level playing field that shows respect to the office. It's not, civility is not a weakness. I'm in the business to win. I want to influence the independent voter and bring them on over. So I suggested to Donna, I said, Donna, you might want to say, help me, Susan, to understand why you're voting, or why you think you're voting for President Obama. What you'll hear more often than not is this. One form or another, it'll come out in one form or another, it'll be this. He cares. He cares. All right? This is where they win. Because people want to think, I care. So people want to, they identify with, I'm a caring person, so I'm an independent that swings, maybe toward the independent, toward the Democrat side. Now, here's how I respond to this. You may have a different way. What I share with folks like this, I say, you know what? I have no doubt that the President cares. Now, I do not concede that he cares more than I do. He may care as much about the poor as I do, but he does not care more. The same thing with our seniors. They want to own. What do they want to do? They want to own the moral high ground on minorities. They want to own the moral high ground on the poor, on our environment, and the elderly. We must, as Republicans, respectfully but fully reject the premise. They win on this because they think they own this moral high ground. I am advancing the policies of our Republican Party, including the Ryan budget. It's because I care about our seniors. It's because I care about inner city unemployment being so high. It's because I want the poor to be lifted up. And we are doing a better job in our party every day of reaching out into our minority communities. And we're saying the full fabric of America, these policies are best for every American without compartmentalization. Let me give you a classic example, and one that I use all the time, and frankly, as I see it, it's frankly irrefutable. It's very powerful. I saw, and Terry will confirm this, as long as I've been an adult, whatever point that flips over, but all of my adult life, I've said, what's wrong with our country? Why are we hemorrhaging cash to countries whose values are diametrically opposed to ours when we have these wonderful resources and Republican Congresses and Democrat Congresses and Republican presidents and Democrat presidents? They all failed to really lead us to energy independence. We've got to do better than this. Now, the Republicans do better than the Democrats, but we can do so much better. And so I didn't have to have a poll. I didn't have to ask any consultant. I said, I am for coastal Virginia energy, leveraging it in an environmentally responsible way. I don't accept the premise that it's either protect the environment or harvest energy. I reject that premise. So I ran on it. The General Assembly, Delegate Stolley will confirm, is the express will of the Virginia General Assembly, both the House of Delegates and the State Senate, to move forward with coastal Virginia energy. Governor McDonnell ran on it. Indeed, 2 U.S. senators, both Webb and Warner, Senators Webb and Warner, both support moving forward with coastal Virginia energy. I'm not for a moment saying that every Virginian wants to move forward with that. In fact, I've had some folks say, I disagree with you on that. That's okay. But you know what? We got a real consensus here. We've got Democrats and Republicans, both chambers, who are saying this is the right thing to do. The governor of Virginia. Now, this is not a partisan statement. I just deal with facts as I see them. There is literally one person standing between us and 18,000 life-changing jobs in Hampton Roads, and that is President Obama. That is not in dispute. He has a full moratorium on coastal Virginia energy. This isn't kind of how I feel about it. This is the reality that we face. This is a classic example of the heavy hand of Washington. Why should 435 representatives, 100 U.S. senators, and one president, why should they, frankly, have, if you respect the will of the local folks, look, 8 million Virginians are saying, you know what, we consider the merits, we consider the risk. We know this is the right thing to do. We have President Obama saying, no, stop. Through Secretary Salazar, full stop, can't move forward. So, when I meet with any inner city pastors and bishops, I say, you know what, I don't doubt that the President wants to create jobs now. I do question his wisdom. I question his judgment. And here are 18,000 jobs, some of which, if we can move forward on this, I know would go to our inner cities, kids, and give them better opportunities. Look, we are regulating ourselves out of our prosperity. This is fundamentally true. I'm not for no regulation. I'm for smarter, lighter regulations. And that's a very practical example that I would encourage you to hold on to. It's 18,000 jobs. That's an objective third-party report. And so when you're talking to your friends who are Democrats, say, yeah, I tell you what, I know what Governor Allen supports. I know what Governor Romney supports. See, this is a fundamental difference right here in Virginia too. That'll make a real difference in the lives of so many. Got other examples, but I'll stop with that. And here I want to pivot to something. These really are momentous times. And I've always loved American history, read about it now because of the travel time. So often I'm listening to these audiobooks, and I really encourage you to listen to them. Ron Chernower's book, Washington a Life, it goes on and on. In fact, so many of you could say, hey Scott, would you like historical books of American history? Here, read this. And I'll try to. We need to know where we come from and the price that's been paid. It helps to understand that, look, this isn't all that different here, I mean, if we get it right. And so, as we look back at this time, I think each of us has to know that we did all we could, and all we could is going to be enough to pivot this country. If everyone here, you kind of examine your life and you say, what can I do? I can't give as much as Bob or Sue to a campaign, but you know what? I got a few more hours per week and I can put in more yard signs. I like to make phone calls. I'll make phone calls. Someone might say, I hate phone calls, but I have 842 Facebook friends. Okay, then you leverage that, or you do all of the above. You know, for Terry and me, it's not up for everyone to run. Thelma ran and won and served with distinction. And you know, Terry, this is our season of public service. I call it a season of public service. But we lean on these words by John Quincy Adams. And we really hold fast to them because they kind of make sense to us. And the words are these: duty is ours, results are God's. And I can only rest in the latter if I know that I've done the former. And you will know at 7 p.m. on November the 6th that I trust that I'll have a real peace about the outcome of the election. Here's why. Because, as I used to say at our dealership right down the road, when I bought it, I was losing, frankly, a ton of money, and nobody wanted it, essentially. And I said, wait a minute, we got a pretty tough situation here. How are we going to get through this? And I said to our staff over and over, and then they all adopted it. I said, we'll be successful when we do things that others are either unwilling or unable to do. And overwhelmingly, it's the unwilling, not that they're unable. And so we just tried to outwork our competition. And that's why we work harder, we get up earlier, we try to use our time wiser, we try to meet with more people. Just frankly, that's a good American attribute. Just frankly, hard work that I learned from my dad Ike and my mom Catherine. So we just outwork our competition because we really believe our ideas are better. And that way, on November the 6th, when that last poll closes, and they all close, they better close at the same time. At 7 p.m., that we'll have this feeling that we'll know no regrets. No regrets. We were all in. Whatever the outcome, no regrets. We gave it all, everything we could. Frankly, financially. Frankly, in time. And Pam, I'm so glad you said, you know what? I'm not really apologetic about asking you to take a day off. This is, my heart sang when you said that, because it's practical steps like that you carve that out. Maybe the other folks won't be doing that. Maybe they won't take that step. Maybe if you can't take 2 days off, we can use you. The Allen campaign can use you. The Romney campaign can use you. It's a really good feeling to do everything you can, and it's an even better feeling to win. So let's all win on November the 6th. Mel was so right. We need a majority in the U.S. Senate. I got one little story to tell you, and we're off. And I appreciate I really do appreciate the applause. I don't expect any more. I'm afraid probably wouldn't get any anyway. That's okay. I want to share something with you though about the Senate. It's a little bit of slice of life, and I think Thelma will get a real kick out of this because she understands the inner workings up there. Every now and then I try to swing my radar, just around and say, am I sideways with anyone? Am I really upset with someone? Am I really holding bitterness against someone? And I swung my radar around a few times and I said, just one name just kept this visual picture just kept coming up. Senator Reid. Harry Reid. Senator Harry Reid. I just really had trouble with that because I didn't understand it. We got 28, now 30 jobs bills. These are real jobs bills. I mean, they relate to energy and so many other things. They're there. They're on his desk. And we worked so hard to pass so many of them. And a lot of them were passed with bipartisan support. Not everyone, but a lot of them were. And they're really good starting points. If nothing else, they're good starting points. And what I learned in 8th grade about how our government works is that the House originates a bill, the Senate can originate a bill, some of those non-revenue ones, but they can amend a bill, and then what happens is it goes to conference, and that's where the big, powerful players, the committee chairmen, and all those folks get together, and they work out a compromise, and then they come back to folks like me who are in the first or second term and say, Scott, I need your vote on this. They really try to shoehorn you in, and that process is normal, and that's how it's supposed to work. That's not happening, y'all. And maybe there's an empirical study that would show in American history that this is an anomaly. I'm confident that it would show this. I just hadn't had the time to research it. But I can tell you that it's not normal. Everyone who's been there in Congress for any length of time, the folks that come to work with, will tell you right now, something's really broken. Nothing is coming out of the Senate. It is really broken. Now, the House is productive. We are producing bills. But what happens is, Senator Reid, you've seen him, we've all seen him, he goes up to the podium, he looks up, he says, dead on arrival. Just dead on arrival. Those extremist Republicans, dead on arrival. Really, that's not how it's supposed to work, Senator. You're supposed to send something back, amend the bill, amend it immensely, amend it any way you want it to look, and then just go to conference and let's try to get these things done. So I wrote him a letter because I just believe in reach. I know, Gary, I was laughing. Well, watch where this goes, Gary. I wrote him a letter and I invited him. You see, our secret weapon for bipartisanship is Terry's gift of hospitality. I invited him to dinner. We have Democrats over for dinner because I think this is important. And so he was very kind. He wrote back a nice reply. He said, thank you for your kind letter. He said, my wife is ill and I don't go out at night, but I'd be delighted to meet with you in my office and I'd like to offer that. And I accepted that. I was very grateful that he accepted that. And I walked over to the Senate side And